Live from the Julius Arthur Leonard Studios in Charlotte, North Carolina, it's TC at Home, presented by Theater Charlotte. Hello, everyone. I'm your host, Chris Timmons. Welcome back to our final episode of TC at Home, an in-depth look at Quarantine the Musical. We've got a great show for you tonight. We've got another fabulous world premiere from our special guests this evening, Kristin Sakamoto and Gracie Bryant. As always, you can catch up at any time on previous episodes of TC at Home or any of our other virtual programs by checking out our Facebook page and looking for us on YouTube. So I am going to bring in our first guest for tonight. She plays Izzy 6 Feet in Quarantine the Musical, which we will get to in just a bit. Please welcome into our studios, Gracie Bryant. Hi, Gracie. How you doing?
I'm good. How are you?
Great. It's you've been quite busy. We've tried to book you a couple of times over the past few weeks, and you've had some other obligations, some trips, maybe. I don't know. Maybe fill us in a little bit on what you've been doing over these last few weeks.
I've been, we did go on vacation. We went to the beach. That was fun.
Excellent.
And I've been doing a lot of master classes and a lot of, singing cabarets, like virtual cabarets like this one. It's been busy, even though there's nothing happening.
Yeah, certainly a different medium that we've got to all get used to. Hopefully not for a whole lot longer, but in the for right now, what we're stuck with. So tell us a little bit more. We were talking a little bit before we came into the studio about school, and that's wrapped up, and now you have all kinds of time on your hands. But tell us a little bit about how the transition from schooling in person to online, especially for somebody who's in performance. Tell us a little bit about how the performance aspect translated to a virtual platform.
It's been really difficult because theater is so based off of the fact that it's live and connecting in real time with the audience and with your fellow actors and with the stage and the music. And so it's been really different and it's been difficult. But I just love theater so much that I am willing to do it in any form as long as I'm singing and dancing. So it's been hard, but I feel like theater is such a passion for so many people that we're willing to go wherever it takes us.
Excellent. You're one of our young performers, obviously, but hopefully one that we'll be seeing a lot more of on our stage for years to come. Tell us about some of the shows that you've been in, some of the things that you've done that people might recognize you from.
My first show that I did at Theater Charlotte was Seussical Jr., and that was 2 summers ago, and I played Mrs. Mayer. I've also done Beauty and the Beast Jr. I was in the main stage production of Oliver. I've done multiple cabarets and fundraisers. I did a fundraiser for Time Out Youth. I've done Great Nights for Singing, and I also did the virtual fundraiser that we just did. Yeah, I love Theater Charlotte.
Tell us a little bit about yourself. Maybe some hobbies. What do you do when you're not doing theater?
When I'm not doing theater. Well, when do I not do theater?
You pretend that you're doing theater, right?
My life is pretty much theater, and that's really dorky, but it's everything. I love to read. I read a lot less than I used to because, my life is theater. I also play instruments. I play guitar and ukulele, and I'm slowly learning piano. Is it even really learning piano? I don't know, but we're trying. We're trying.
Is that something that you picked up during quarantine, or is that something that you were planning on doing prior to this?
Well, I had planned on doing it prior to this, but it never ended up happening. And I figured that quarantine, like with so many other things, is the perfect time to start something like that.
Yeah. How did you get started in theater?
I did my first show when I was in first grade at my elementary school. I was the youngest mermaid sister in The Little Mermaid. And it's actually really funny because all the mermaid sisters, we had one line that we were all supposed to say together. And I was the only one who remembered it. And on my little first grade self, I just went, a boat? And that was just the start of it all. And I started doing it more consistently and seriously when I was in fifth grade. So, yeah.
Excellent. Tell us about some of your favorite roles.
My favorite role was probably when I was Winifred in Once Upon a Mattress at school. Shy was one of my first audition songs that I ever did, which, yeah. But I also loved being in Matilda at Children's Theater of Charlotte and also being in Oliver at Theater Charlotte.
Excellent. So we're going to play a little video that you put together for your audition piece, right? This is a sort of an expanded version of your audition video for Quarantine the Musical. Tell us about this. Tell us how you got involved in Quarantine the Musical. Did somebody challenge you, or did you just take it upon yourself? Tell us about this, what we're about to see.
My friend challenged me. And it was towards the beginning of quarantine, and I was very, very bored. And we didn't really know that it was going to be going on for so long. And so I was just looking for something to pass the time. And I thought it was perfect. And I love making parodies. And I love the song I did is On My Own from Les Mis, a parody. And so my dad and I pretty much just put our heads together and came up with some funky lyrics.
Excellent. All right, we're going to play that. So here is Gracie Bryant in her audition piece for Quarantine the Musical.
On my own, hiding from Corona, all alone, I wait till who knows when. In the darkness, I feel my mask around me, and when I fall asleep, I always dream that it has found me. In my Zooms, people keep putting weird backgrounds. How in the world do you navigate friggin' Canvas? Why couldn't we just stick to Google Classroom? I don't need extra stress, so could we try to keep things normal? And I know it's not only in my mind. Is there anything else on the news? But what if we run out of TP? Well, at least I could use an old t-shirt. Let me go, I need to be outside. I promise I'm not immunocompromised. But still don't touch me with your dirty, germy hands. I've got Clorox wipes and hand soap, some masks and rubber gloves. I shall not get COVID-19 every day. All I do is clean. Without school, I'm going kind of crazy. all my shows were cancelled, and it's making me depressed. Corona. 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 Please don't infect me.
Excellent.
Thank you.
So, was there some truth to what you were saying in some of these lyrics?
Yes, definitely. That was obviously back when school was sort of just starting virtually, and we were having a lot of trouble with it. And obviously some things have changed, but it still is pretty true to what's happening.
So, the other couple of questions sorry, I'm getting our next video set up. How long did it take you to put this video together?
The video took a while. I went out into the street in front of my house and just started belting my face off. And there are these two little boys across the street who were like, and I got some weird looks, but in the end, I think it was pretty worth it.
Excellent. Yeah, I was going to say, looking at obviously you and your neighborhood and some empty streets, but obviously there were probably, if we look close, I'm sure we could see some people peeking through windows wondering what's going on out there.
I was sitting in front of the bushes. That's in my neighbor's front yard. And they pulled in their car right as I was doing it. Nice. And they just kind of rolled down their window and they were like, Gracie, what are you doing? And I'm just sitting in their front yard like, nothing, nothing. What are you talking about?
Well, they're probably used to it by now, huh?
Yes, definitely.
Whole new world for all of us. Excellent. That was awesome. Here's a little comment for you.
I love you, Terry.
All right, so Gracie, I'm gonna put you backstage for a second. We're gonna talk with Kristin for a few minutes, and then we're gonna dive into Quarantine the Musical. So hang tight.
All right, thank you.
We'll meet up with you in just a minute. Hey, Kristin.
Hi.
How you doing?
Good. How are you, Chris?
Good. You knew Strange with you on stage. You played Nancy and Oliver last fall.
I did.
Tell us about some of the other roles that we may have seen you in at Theater Charlotte and also around town.
Most recently, I played Svetlana in chess at Central Piedmont Community College. And prior to that, you have to go back quite a few years to remember me from anything. I did Godspell at Theater Charlotte, and also Annie, and also The Music Man. So, and The Music Man, my husband proposed to me at Curtain Call. So that was pretty fun.
Excellent.
Yeah.
And the rest is history.
And the rest is history. That's right.
Where did your love of theater come about?
Oh, gosh. Well, I went to my first audition when I was 13 years old. And the audition was actually for Oliver, believe it or not. That's the first show I ever did when I was 13. I was a workhouse boy. So I was in Food Glorious Food and the song Oliver. And then I sat downstairs in City Hall for 2.5 hours and waited for curtain call. And that was because I wasn't in Fagan's gang or anything. I wasn't, cool enough to do that. So that was my first taste of theater. And then a couple of months right after that, I did a little night music and I played Frederica. And by that time I was hooked. So
nice.
That's it. And it's been, like 30 years since then. And I do it when I can.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, it's hard. You've got a family now. You've got a little one who's not so little anymore.
She's 6.
6, right? Yeah.
Yeah.
How have you guys been doing over these last few months? Is Kate in school?
We've really been doing okay because I was homeschooling her.
Okay.
I'm trying to do the Reader's Digest version. She did attend school because we had just gotten into a school because I took a job there. We were literally there for a week and a half, and then schools closed down. Mm-hmm. So we kind of went back to what we were doing before. The real fun part was that we bought a new house to be closer to this school where my job and where she would be attending. And so we moved a couple weeks into the lockdown. Nice. So that's been fun. Yeah.
Everyone's going to have a story coming out of this.
I know. Truly.
What have you been doing? Are there things that you've been doing? And you mentioned it's, you kind of have to pick and choose when you do a show.
Yes.
It's not easy having a family and being able to juggle that. And obviously with conditions being what they are, we're all sort of trying to figure things out. Are there things that you've been doing to stay in acting shape? Things that you've been doing?
Absolutely nothing. No, I haven't been doing anything. I'll be honest, chess was exhausting. I know why nobody ever does that show now. It was really exhausting. And then the job started like a week later, and then, the quarantine and then the move. And so I've pretty much just been working on the house, and we've been painting a lot of things and redoing some things around here. So that's really where my focus has been. And I haven't done anything. In fact, the song coming up, the premiere that we recorded, is the first time I have sung since chess. So that I was like, oh, wait a minute. I should probably still be doing this on occasion.
Well, and I think Vito Abate, who premiered a piece a couple weeks ago, was saying the same thing where, it's just been so long. When he started getting back into it, realized, hey, I've got it's different. It's different now that it's been so long.
Yes. But it's good. I mean, it's motivated me to, now that my music room is actually getting put back together, it has motivated me to get back into practicing and warming up and that sort of thing.
Are there things that you have seen over the past few months that have been inspiring to you in terms of, or positive in terms of theater and performing arts? There's been so much research out there, and I know you've been really doing research on singing and the effects that has.
Yeah, because I teach music at a church, and I've done I do a lot of music direction, and all the research seems very discouraging, but at the same time, I am so grateful to have it, because it seems like every time you do a show, everybody's sick, right? And so now we have all this research that has come out of the COVID situation, and how can we apply that going forward so maybe everybody doesn't have to get sick during a show? Because we're learning so much about just the physiology and everything, and I think it's really a good thing. And and I love seeing how theaters are innovating right now and doing things that are completely different. And there's one place in Florida that has bought a big screen, and they've set up in a baseball field because the it's not being used right now, and they're showing. With permission, they are showing videos of past performances and letting people come and set up in the stadium and keeping them socially distant. So I love that there are things like that happening to keep theater alive while this is all going on. And things like this. I mean, this has been so much fun.
Yeah, and you've had a busy weekend. I saw that you were on another program yesterday. Was it right? Can you tell us a little bit about that, what you were doing?
Yeah, it's a brand new theater company called Blue Fire Theater. They're out of Yulee, Florida, which is just north of Jacksonville. And a good friend of mine runs it. And so they're doing, I think it's about once a week right now. They're just inviting people on to discuss various things. And I did some music direction work for their director. And so she asked me to come on and speak about musicals and musical theater.
Excellent.
Yeah.
All right, I'm going to bring your co-star back into the stream here.
Okay, yay. I love Gracie. She's darling.
So for the two of you, let's talk a little bit about Quarantine the Musical.
Yes.
Let's talk about your characters. Gracie, let's start with you. You play Izzy 6 Feet. Tell us a little bit about your character. What happens with her in the show? What can you tell us?
Well, in Act 1, Izzy is very concerned and very, very anxious about the virus, and she just stays at home and is just completely very strict about her quarantine. And then one of the things I love about her character is that she has this character arc where she, after Mask Maker, which is a song that we sing in the show, a duet, is sort of the pivotal point where she begins to open back up and realize that she can go out while still being protected and safe.
Excellent. Tell us, and again, you're very young in your career, but tell us, for a role like this, how do you prepare for a show like this, a show that is in development, which I'm guessing is something that you've not experienced? Is that true? Is it safe to say that that most of the shows that you have done are complete pieces that have been published, and going into it what the characters are like, or you maybe have some previous performances or other shows that you can research? This is brand new. This is all being worked together from scratch. So how do you prepare for a role like this?
Well, I actually have been in a developmental project, actually at Theater Charlotte. My friend James wrote a musical called Don't Forget Me, which I played young Emma. But as for preparing for the character, I usually try to find similarities between myself and the character and then sort of build off of that. No matter how different your character is, there's always going to be a part that you have to connect with, and then just sort of build from there.
Excellent. Kristin, you play
Mom, wife, teacher,
500 roles.
2, 2, 3, artist, zookeeper, chef, tech director, maid, friend 1, and friend 2.
Which is probably very similar to your life right now. Is that safe to say?
Yeah.
So,
the thing I love most about my roles in Quarantine the Musical is that I get to be the entire ensemble, and that's awesome. I love being in the ensemble because I'm everywhere, and my costume changes are the best. They're the best. I just have the best costumes because I have 12 costumes. So, yeah, it's awesome.
Is there a role that stands out to you? Is there a moment that is sort of a highlight for you in the show?
I think the zookeeper. I really feel like I connect with the zookeeper, and I don't mean this in a negative way at all, but it really, like you said, Gracie, when you have to connect with your role, I really use my preschool teaching experience to really connect with that zookeeper role, because I'm used to having lots of little animals around me. So sweet, very sweet. I mean, I love them all. I love them dearly. But yeah.
All right, so tell us a little bit about this piece that we're about to see. Who wants to give us the intro?
Gracie, you want to do it?
Yeah. So this is the song I was talking about, Mask Maker. So this is sort of the pivotal point where Izzy goes to the Mask Maker and is sort of deciding to come out and be part of the world again.
Excellent. All right, so we're going to step aside and we're going to watch Matchmaker. This is a Quarantine the Musical live world premiere.
Mask maker, make me a mask. Mom will send wine, whatever you ask. Mask maker, look through designs and make me a perfect mask. Mask maker, please use the mail. We won't drop by. You
I thought you just wanted to practice social distancing.
Well, why shouldn't I go out and live my best life?
Because you're a girl with high expectations, and a good mask is hard to come by. Right? Of course, right. Izzy, oh Izzy, have I got a mask for you? It's trendy, it's fun, alright, it's navy blue, but it's a nice mask, a good mask, true? True. It doesn't have elastic, you'll have to tie it tight, but if you take some Advil, you'll be alright. Did you think you'd get a print? But why would you even ask? With no fabric, elastic, no money for postage, be glad you got a mask.
Mask maker, I think that I'm going to stay home. So take your time. Up to this minute, I misunderstood that I still want to look good.
Dear Izzy, please reconsider. Remember, it's more than love for you. Just add some sequins and glitter, and you can leave your house too. Mask maker, we'll take the scraps. Please make them soon. Now we have learned wearing a mask means we stop spreading germs. So we can go out, we can see friends, we can stay safe. All that we ask is that we have lots of masks.
Awesome. Gracie Bryant, Kristin Sakamoto. Outstanding. So a couple of little other questions here for you. So now there's, we're doing these pieces that are virtual. People can watch them at any point in time. How do you guys feel about that? I mean, it's different when you're doing a live performance. You might do, in the case of Theater Charlotte, it's maybe a 3-week run, 13 performances, something like that. And then it's history after that. How do you guys feel about having all of this stuff out there now? People can watch this video whenever they want. It's so different.
Bless their hearts. I think it's fun. I don't know how you feel about it, Gracie. I think it's great fun. Yeah, it's just fun.
I love it. I mean, I did a virtual show, and I was saying the whole time that we were recording different parts, so we weren't doing the show in order, and we weren't doing it together. And if I were to look at a person, I had to turn my head and I wouldn't see anything there. But on the video, it looked like I was looking at them. So it didn't have the same sort of chemistry with everyone, but I think it's still the theater magic. It's still happening.
Yeah, absolutely. And, a couple of other questions, and I know I tried to, my mind has been going, so these are some questions that are brand new. I try to give my guests some idea of where we're going so that they're not completely thrown off, but I'm gonna probably throw you off here. So
we're going somewhere new. All right.
You ready? So as performers, when are you going to feel safe performing in front of a live audience? When do you feel is there something out there that will say, okay, now it's okay. We can kind of put this virtual stuff aside. Now I feel like I'm ready.
Maybe around the time when Broadway goes back, I feel is when the majority of theater will go back. Even though Broadway does have a lot of different factors than a community theater would, I feel like that's around the time when I would feel most comfortable to go back.
And I think for me personally, it's going to be a little longer than that because I have some autoimmune underlying health issues. So I have a little bit higher concern there probably than some other people do because I'm very conscious of how that could affect my family or anything if I do become exposed. So I don't know when that's going to be for me, but I think I'm going to let other people be the guinea pigs for a while first. The really healthy, sturdy folk can get out there. Yes, you get out there and you let me know how it goes.
I'll tell you how it is.
Yes,
You've got a new role. You're now the guinea pig.
Yes.
Congratulations.
I love it. Constant change.
Yes.
All right. So who wants to share a favorite memory from Theater Charlotte? It can be a show, maybe something that happened during a performance or rehearsal. Who has something that just pops into their head when they say, this is kind of my favorite moment from Theater Charlotte? Kristin, you look like you've got something right there.
Well, yeah, I mean, it was the Music Man performance when my husband had planned to propose at Curtain Call, which I was completely unaware of. And during that particular show is when the light board overheated and all the lights went out during Shapoopy, and we did Shapoopy in the dark, and which was really exciting. And then the lights would come on, and then they would go off, and then they would come back on, and then they would go off. And this happened for the whole show, so that's what everybody was freaking out about. And then at Curtain Call, I'm in my toga, and here comes Robert on stage. And so I will never forget that whole evening. It was
Gracie, do you have one?
During Oliver, Theater Charlotte is definitely a family for me. All of my friends do it. It's like a rite of passage type of thing for us to do the summer shows. But this was during Oliver, and we went out to dinner before a show. We went to Sabor, and we had a very tiny car and a lot of people. And my little brother was there, and my parents are probably not very happy to hear this. They're sitting right there. So sorry. But he sat on my lap in the car, and there were kids like on the floor of the car, and we had like all our drinks, and we were just driving, like sipping our drinks, and we all were recording. It was crazy.
Please don't let that keep Gracie from doing shows at Theater Charlotte.
You're grounded.
All right, great. My last question for you, and this may be a little bit, this is a sort of a bigger question, but what do you think Theater Charlotte means to this community?
For me, Theater Charlotte, musical theater, the industry can get very competitive and very intense. And I feel like at the end of the day, Theater Charlotte is a place where I can do musical theater, but be so comfortable and so happy and so safe doing it.
Mm-hmm. And I think that Theater Charlotte, within the Charlotte theater community, within the community theater as a whole, just stands for quality. I mean, it is sort of a benchmark that I believe that other theaters can strive to attain. I mean, you see the dedication of the people at Theater Charlotte, from the staff to the volunteers, and just the quality that is able to come out of this little space with, it's not fancy. It's very unpresuming, and this amazing magic that happens there. So I really feel like that it brings a whole different level of community theater to Charlotte and just to community theater as a whole.
Yeah, and I think you've both touched on the family environment. Gracie, for you, your friends, the friendships that you build. Obviously, for Kristin, you've built a family there.
Literally.
So, great. Well, listen, thank you both so much for being on our final inside look at Quarantine the Musical on TC at Home. And from afar.
Yeah. No see. I haven't seen Vito since probably Godspell.
Oh my gosh. Well,
yeah.
Well, listen, you can see his video anytime on our Facebook page, and you can watch it over and over. You can fall asleep listening to it and watching it. And but I guess one of the things that we can sort of take away from this is there's been an opportunity now to connect with people that we maybe haven't connected with. Again, I was kind of the same way. Vito had moved away this past year, about a year ago, and we were able to connect. See, now he's just going to keep going on. But anyway, we have an opportunity to connect with people that we haven't from a distance, and we can do that through these virtual platforms that we've talked about that were so frustrating early on, as Gracie pointed out in her song. But again, thank you both so much for your time, for your artistry, your passion. Hopefully we get to meet up again soon, live and in person.
Yeah, that'd be awesome.
Excellent.
Fingers crossed.
Yeah.
All right. Gracie Bryant, Kristin Sakamoto, thank you guys.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Bye, Chris. Bye, Gracie.
And that is going to wrap it up. Our final inside look at Quarantine the Musical on TC at Home. It has been a pleasure serving as your host of TC at Home over these past few weeks. As mentioned in our Wednesday Isolation Radio Hour, we are going to put our virtual programming on hold for an indeterminate amount of time. Who knows? It's out of my hands. But I do want to thank all of the guests who have appeared on TC at Home. Thank you for your time. For all the performers who helped bring Isolation Radio Hour to life over these past few weeks, we couldn't have done it without you. Thank you so much for joining us for those. For all the local artists who shared their expertise for our TC Teachables, again, thank you for sharing those nuggets of theater experiences and skills and lessons that we can all learn from. Thank you to you, those of you who have watched our programming over these past several weeks. Thank you for sharing those programs with others, and I hope that you will continue to do that. Again, if there's anything that you've missed, you have an opportunity to go back and watch it, and obviously share those programs with friends and coworkers. And for those of you who have donated to Theater Charlotte over these past several weeks, we know who you are. You know who you are. Thank you. We couldn't have gotten to this point without you. And then lastly, I want to thank the staff at Theater Charlotte, Nancy, Ron, and Jackie, who have been working tirelessly to keep Theater Charlotte in the eyes of the community, for keeping the mission alive, keeping Theater Charlotte relevant, giving our artists, our performers, an opportunity to shine and share their experiences and their love for theater, and for making theater accessible to everyone in our community and beyond, for that matter. Yes, thank you. Thank you all. Again, take a look at our virtual programming at any time on our Facebook page and on YouTube. On behalf of everyone here at the studio, I'm Chris Timmons. Thank you.